So basically, they're called mixture. Alright, and they're called mixture because we're mixing different solutions together. Alright, so they're saying how much antifreeze do we have to put in like 12 liters of this thing and to get another thing, okay? And so what I like to do is I just like to make a diagram right away. So we have our thing they told us right here. They told us 12 liters of a 40% solution. So I'm just going to make like a container, and it's going to have 12 liters inside. So like 12 liters. And inside of these 12 liters, only 40% is solution. But instead of like writing solution, I like to just imagine it as like salt, okay? So I'm just going to say salt. It's basically the same idea. It's 40% of something of the total. So 40% of the 12 liters is something. They in this case they say solution, but I like to just say salt. It's easy to remember. So we have like 12 liters. We have a 12-liter container, and 40% of the container is just salt. Okay, so. And then they're saying we have to add this with an antifreeze. So an antifreeze basically it's only solution. It's so basically we're adding it, and it makes sense because we're adding two things to get a 60% solution. So basically something with 60% salt. So we're adding two solutions, two containers basically, and then when we add them together, we're going to get a 60% solution. Alright, and so it makes sense that this guy, he has to be 100% solution, or 100% salt. Right? So it's just like adding until when we add the two containers together, basically when we put both of these guys together, we're gonna get one big one, and it's gonna have 60%. Okay? And we don't know how many liters, that's why they're asking how much must be added. So we'll just say X liters. I'll just put like an L. So how many liters of the 60% salt do we have? Then we have 12 plus X liters, right? Because this guy added 12 plus X is 12X. 12 plus X is 12 plus X. So we'll just write 12 plus X liters. Now, basically, we're going to write some algebraic equations. So we're just going to write equations using these diagrams. Alright, so for 40% of 12 liters, how can we write that in like algebra? So basically, we're going to like write it out. So 40% of 12 liters, we can write 40% like 0.4, right? And we want 40% of 12 liters. So it's 40% of 12 liters. That's only salt. So we got only salt. And then we got 100% of X. So that's just going to be 1 times X, right? 1 times X, and that's just X. And then over here, we have 60% of 12 plus X liters. So how we're going to write that, we're going to say both of these guys equal is going to become 0.6 times 12 plus X. So in other words, we're basically like multiplying this number by this number, and then we're multiplying this number by this number, and we're basically 40% equals 0.4 and 100% equals 1. Well, this like in terms of percentages, and then same thing right over here. And then once we use algebra, right, we do that stuff, we'll get X is equal to 180. Okay, so I just memorized the answer, but you would normally just distribute and subtract and add, and then you would arrive at 180. And so that means we need 180 liters. They're asking how much antifreeze do we need to add? Well, we're going to add 180 liters of antifreeze to get our 60% dude. Alright, so that's, now let's just look at a quick example that's not adding, but this one is subtracting. So in this case, it's like they're saying how much needs to be evaporated. So again, this one actually uses salt, so it's easier to visualize. So let's say they said we have a 300-liter tank of 2% salt. So let's draw that. We have a 300 liters, a very big tank. 300 liters, and it has 2% salt. So right off the bat, how much salt is in this thing? So 2% of 300 is what? 2%, 2%, 2% of 300. This is just 6 liters of salt, basically. 6, we're just gonna write 6, alright? We'll multiply this number by this number, okay? And we're gonna add, wait, but we're not adding this time. We're gonna subtract something. We're saying we're gonna evaporate. And what are we evaporating? I'm just gonna draw another container. And this one has, what is it? Water. We're subtracting water. And water is 0% salt. Water is just water. So 0% salt. And we don't know how many liters. So we're gonna say X liters. But in the end, we should get something with 5% salt. 5% salt, as it states right over there. So, and how many liters is that? Well, since we're taking one big guy and we're subtracting X, so our final one is going to be 300 minus X liters. Okay? Now, we're going to write another equation. When we do 0 times X, we just get 0, because anything multiplied by 0 is just 0. And 6 minus 0 is 0, so we don't have to write that one. But the right-hand side, again, we're taking 5% of the total amount. That will be only salt. So 5%, we can write it like 0.05 times 300 minus X. And then that's basically, we're done. We just solve for X and we got it. So that's how we do mixture problems.